In the opening scene of the movie, a car approaches a house and a little girl inside notices it through the window. Since no one usually visits them, she's curious and steps outside. She spots a white car parked not too far away, but there's no one inside. She glances away for a second, and when she looks back, the car is gone. Suddenly, she turns around and comes face to face with a bizarre, freaky man. He looks strange, mumbles gibberish, and speaks in a weird way, making it clear that he's totally insane. The scene shifts, and years later, that girl is now working as an FBI agent. In a high-stakes meeting, the team is hunting down a serial killer who has a strange way of leaving no trace behind after his murders. They've been relentlessly tracking him. Lee Harker, along with her partner Agent Fisk, are assigned to question the locals. Suddenly, Harker tells Fisk she has a gut feeling that the killer, known as Long Legs, is hiding nearby in one of the houses. She tells Fisk to start with one of the homes, but the moment he rings the doorbell, as soon as the door opens, someone shoots him, killing him. The spot. Immediately, Harker rushes into the house and finds the killer in a room, hands raised in surrender. In the next scene, Longlegs walks into a grocery store, acting all weird and creepy, scaring the girl who works there. After that, he jumps into his car and starts yelling and behaving erratically. Meanwhile, Harker's superior, Agent Carter, along with her colleague Mrs. Browning, commend Harker for passing a series of tough psychological tests involving colors, praising her intelligence and sharp instincts for the job. They explain that Longlegs is a bizarre killer who, aside from leaving little to no trace, often forces parents to kill their own children, usually daughters. He leaves behind strange letters with an odd alphabet. Later, at the FBI office, while going over the evidence, Harker realizes that the killer has a particular way of choosing his victims, most of whom are girls born on 14th of the month. Later, Lee Harker heads back to her cabin deep in the woods. While she's alone, her mom calls and they talk about the case she's been working on. But then, suddenly, she hears a noise. Curious, she follows the sound and spots someone standing outside the cabin in the middle of the forest. She rushes out to catch him, but there's no one there. When Lee comes back inside, she notices a letter on her desk. It's addressed to her, for Lee Harker. She quickly opens it, and it's a birthday postcard. Since Lee's birthday is coming up, it's clear the killer knows exactly when her birthday is. Along with the postcard, there's another note written in some strange alphabet in an unfamiliar language. Somehow, Lee manages to decipher it, and the message becomes clear. If you tell the police anything about what you've uncovered about me, I will kill your mother in the most brutal way possible. Despite the threat, Lee doesn't stop his investigation. Using a book about hell and demons called The 9 Circles of Hell, she starts to piece together the dates and locations of all the murders. She maps them out and realizes they form a symbol, Satan's symbol. With her new discoveries, Lee finds 2 key leads linked to the murders. One involves a massacre at a farm, and the other is about a girl named Carrie Ann, the only survivor after her father killed their entire family. She's currently in a mental institution. Lee, along with Carter, heads to the farm. After searching the place, they find a doll in the attic. When they take the doll to a specialist and a forensic doctor, he confirms the doll's hair is made from real human hair. The doll itself is crafted from a rare, delicate plastic, expertly made by a skilled dollmaker. Lee Harker is completely immersed in examining the evidence, desperately trying to find a lead. She's been going through everything, deeply focused, when her superior invites her out for a drink. As they talk, Harker explains that Longlegs has never actually killed anyone with his own hands. Instead, he manipulates family members, particularly fathers, into murdering their own children. Hearing this, Carter responds, "So we're dealing with someone who operates like Charles Manson, a cult leader of sorts." Afterward, Harker drops Carter off at his house. Carter invites her inside, and Harker meets his wife and daughter. Carter's daughter even chats with her and invites her to her upcoming birthday party. In the next scene, another murder has taken place. Harker and Carter arrive at the crime scene to investigate. Later, Harker calls her mother, who's clearly worried about her. But Harker reassures her that she's got everything under control. However, there's something unsettling about Harker's relationship with her mom. It's almost like her mother knows more than she's letting on, making the whole thing seem suspicious. Harker and Carter follow up on their next lead and speak with the head of a psychiatric facility about arranging a meeting with Carrie Ann. The staff member tells them that Carrie Ann had been catatonic, but after a visit from a mysterious stranger, she suddenly snapped out of it, like she was completely cured. When Harker asks to check the visitor logs, she's shocked to see her own name listed as the visitor. It's clear this was Longlegs' doing. Harker finally meets with Carrie Ann and asks about her parents. Carrie talks about how they were confused, and while she has negative things to say about her mother, she speaks fondly of her father. The scene then cuts to a flashback of Carrie's mother being brutally murdered by her father with an axe. It all seemed to start with a doll, which somehow cursed them. Harker asks Carrie about the mysterious visitor, asking if she can describe him. Carrie responds with a chilling statement, "I'd do anything he asks. I'd even kill myself for him or follow any order he gives me, like murdering you in the most gruesome way just to make him happy." It becomes clear just how deeply Longlegs can manipulate his victims, like a spell that makes them turn on one another. In the next scene, Harker talks with her superior, Carter, and she points out that many cultures have something called voodoo magic, which can possess victims. But Carter dismisses it, saying there's no such thing and that Longlegs isn't some supernatural force. He's just a regular human being, no different from the rest of us. Carter asks Harker, "When was the last time you saw your mother?" When Harker questions what that has to do with the case, Carter explains, "On January 13th, 1974, the day before your 9th birthday, your mother called the police. That means, just like the other victims of Longlegs, you were born on the 14th. She reported seeing a tall, pale man." Carter tells Harker to go home, talk to her mother, and ask about the man who broke into their property. Harker goes to her mother's house and asks if she remembers her 9th birthday. Her mother responds, "No, I don't recall anything." Harker reminds her that she called the police because someone had broken into their property. Her mother replies, "No one ever came around here. Not strangers, not even family, not even wild animals." No matter how much Harker pushes for details, her mother avoids answering and instead says, "I've kept everything from your childhood in your room." Harker checks her old stuff and finds some photos from her childhood, including one taken the day Longlegs showed up. Shockingly, there's a picture of him. She immediately brings the photo to Carter and says, "I'm sure this is the guy. I don't remember much, but I want us to go after him." Carter agrees, saying they should question her mother as she might have useful information. In the next scene, Longlegs is bizarrely spotted on the side of the road with his bags packed. Police arrive and arrest him. Later, as Harker and the other officers watch an interrogation video of Longlegs, he suddenly says, "I know Lee Harker. I want to meet with her." The team discusses the case with Harker. Despite the creepy letters, they still don't have enough evidence to charge him. Carter says, "We've caught the guy writing those satanic letters, but we still can't connect him to the murders." Harker suggests that Longlegs probably has an accomplice and says, "We need to wait until tomorrow, the 14th, because he's likely going to kill someone else." Harker then goes in to interrogate Longlegs. He talks in his usual eerie way, ranting about the devil and spewing nonsense. He claims, "I have many accomplices. You'll never stop my methods." Then, in a disturbing moment, he begins chanting to the devil and repeatedly slams his head against the table until he severely injures himself, causing a fatal head injury. He essentially commits suicide right there. Afterwards, Carter is furious with Harker, telling her there's no longer any connection between him and the murders. There's no accomplice, no magic, nothing. We're back to square one. Agent Browning drives Lee back to her house so she can talk to her mother, hoping to uncover any clues about Longlegs' accomplice. As soon as Lee gets inside, she calls out for her mother but gets no response. Suddenly, she sees her mother by the window, calmly and effortlessly shooting Agent Browning, killing her while she's still sitting in the car. Terrified and panicking, Lee rushes toward her mother, begging her to drop the gun, saying, "Mom, you're under arrest." But before she can do anything, she passes out. In her unconscious state, she starts remembering her childhood, the moment Longlegs came into their lives. Her mother had decided to follow Longlegs' instructions to protect herself and her daughter. In reality, Lee's mother had become Longlegs' true accomplice. She was delivering the cursed dolls that Longlegs made, telling people they were gifts from the church. But the dolls brought a curse into their homes, driving families to murder their own children. When Lee wakes up, she's lying in her bed, dazed and horrified by the truth she's uncovered. Suddenly, the phone rings. A creepy voice says, "You're late for the party. Today is Ruby's birthday." Lee instantly remembers that today, the 14th, is Carter's daughter Ruby's birthday. Panicking, she jumps into her car, screaming in frustration as she speeds towards Carter's house. When she arrives, everything seems normal. But then, she spots her mother there, bringing a doll as a birthday gift for Ruby. Realizing what's about to happen, Lee is frozen with fear. Moments later, Carter tells his wife to come with him to the kitchen to cut the cake. Suddenly, the sound of stabbing and violence fills the air. Covered in blood, Carter comes out with a knife, ready to attack. Lee is forced to shoot him, killing him on the spot. She then turns the gun on her own mother, shooting her in the head, finally breaking the horrific curse. Grabbing Ruby, she rushes her out of the house. The movie ends with the chilling sound of Longlegs' eerie laughter echoing in the background.